Hi Year 7, it's Mrs Smith again, and today we're carrying on from our work from last week on camera angles, but we're developing that a little bit today and we're going to be explaining their effect. Okay, so just a little recap on what you learned last week. So what I would like you to do is to read the 5 camera angle descriptions that are in that green box there, as you can see. And I want you to decide which camera angle they are linked to. The description will either talk about the position of the camera or the effect of the angle. Okay, so you've got some images at the bottom there to help you. What I think would be best is if you stopped this video as you need to, just as you did before in our last lesson, and pause it and then come back to it when you're ready to know the answers. Okay, hopefully you paused it and now you're ready to know the answers, so just bear with me there. So as you can see, oh, it's all going through, hang on. Clicked on that twice there, it doesn't matter, we'll just go through it. So number 1, what camera angle is the technique used to make the audience feel like they are part of the film? Okay, and that is a point of view shot. So remember, the point of view shot was looking at something through the eyes of the main character. Okay, so you're seeing what they're seeing, enabling you to empathise with them. So the second statement there is it's taken from the view of a high above ground level. People and objects are smaller than actual size when this camera effect is used. That's a bird's eye view, so it's as if you're a bird looking down on the scene below. Third one, then you can only see a certain feature within the frame, for instance the eyes. You would have been correct had you had put an extreme close-up. Okay, remember the close-up is of the whole face, and extreme close-up is usually of a key feature of that, usually the eyes. Number 4, usually the first shot of the new scene, designed to show the audience where the action is taking place. You would have been correct had you had written an establishing shot. Number 5 there, filmed at ground level looking up, so thinking about how that camera is being held. It's a low angle shot there, and you'll be able low angle shots are of Batman there, making him look really powerful, quite intimidating and important within that scene. So I wonder whether you were able to spot each one here. So you've got Batman there, that's your low angle like I said. This second one here, this was your bird's eye view looking down on the scene. This one here was your point of view shot. As you can see, you've got somebody's hand there looking through, I think it's a gun, so you are able to tell that it's the camera is in the place of the character's face looking down at this character. This image of Deadpool there of the eyes, that's your extreme close-up. And lastly here, of this scenery, this would have been an establishing shot. It would have been one of the very first shots that you would have seen in the film. So give yourself a mark out of 5. Well done to you guys. If you managed to get all of them correct, you have remembered them well from last week. Moving on then. Now you have 2 film clips to watch. Okay, so what I would like you to do is to watch the following clips and list all the camera angles you can spot. Okay, there were some others that we didn't discuss in the starter task, but you could have had things like those long angle shots there and the over the shoulder shots you should be looking out for. And also that extra one that I added in, if you can remember, was that Dutch angle shot where the camera is like at an angle, so you're looking at the scene at an angle as such. Okay, the clips will not include every shot we have covered, but they may include the same shot several times. Now the first one here, just give you a bit of an outline. When you click on that link down there, it will take you to a very short clip that's been taken from the Finding Nemo film. So you've got your main characters in there. I think this character here is called Bruce the shark, and then you've got Nemo and Dory, so mentioning those would be helpful. And then this second clip I've taken from Hunger Games. It's when Katniss is going in to show her skill off, because she needs like a ranking score in comparison to the other competitors. So she's trying to show off her archery skills to the people from the Capitol who are sat on the balcony, and you'll see the head game maker Seneca Seneca Crane, who's sitting at the front there drinking his cocktail. Now you might notice that this clip of the Hunger Games is a little bit different to the one that's actually on the school closure website. Now the reason for that is when I went to click on the clip that was on this scheme of work on the school closure website, it should have taken me to a clip from the Lord of the Rings. Sorry, it was the Lord of the Rings, and for some reason when I clicked on it, it wouldn't show up that clip on YouTube. So I've had to change it and adapt it slightly. So that's just to explain to you why it does look a little bit different. Okay, that's probably going to take you about 10 minutes. Pause this video and come back to the video once you have completed that task. You may need to watch the videos a couple of times, watch them through once, and then on that second time, be making a note of the different camera angles you can spot. Good luck with that. Hello, sorry, welcome back. So what I want you to do now is I want you to just take a look at these 3 screenshots that I took from the Finding Nemo clip, and have a little think about those camera angles that you saw in that clip there. So you, like me, might have noticed that there was a high angle shot right at the beginning, looking down at Nemo and Dory, and it makes them look really vulnerable. So now thinking about the effect of those camera angles, they look like they're in a very difficult position. Something bad is going to happen to them, especially with that like slight glimpse of Bruce's really sharp teeth. You might be thinking at this point that Bruce is about to eat them, and his size of his teeth in comparison to the 2 fish does make him look very powerful and then very weak. Moving on then, you might have spotted in that clip this shot here. This was a long angle shot because you can see the whole of the fish there and a little bit of scenery too. So you can see Bruce here, his whole of his body, and you can see Nemo and Dory, and they just look like flecks of colour basically because they are so small in comparison to him. Now thinking about the effect of the camera angles that you identified, what is the effect here? Well, the effect here is that this camera angle really emphasizes the size of Bruce in comparison to Nemo and Dory, and again makes them look very vulnerable in comparison to him. His size and stature outweighs them, and it shows his power over them. The third image here, the shot here, anybody guess what that one is? You'd be correct in thinking that was an extreme close-up of his teeth. Now this extreme close-up really is adding the tension here because you can see how sharp they are, and each tooth looks the size of the 2 fish right there, Nemo and Dory, and really emphasizes the fact that sharks eat small fish, and Dory and Nemo look like they're about to be his next meal. Okay, moving on from Okay, in the Hunger Games you might have noted lots of different camera angles. I'm just going to show you 2 examples here. This one here is an over the shoulder, but you could also shot because you see Seneca Crane here drinking his cocktail, but it is also a high angle shot. So don't forget that sometimes the shots can be 2 different things, okay? So you would then say that this is an over the shoulder high angle shot looking down on Katniss Everdeen. Now again, thinking about the effect here, what does it make the audience think? Now it makes the audience think, we're being correct in thinking that Katniss Everdeen is in a weaker position to Seneca Crane. Now the over the shoulder shot shows us that Katniss is trying to talk to Seneca Crane, and that is why they are both in that shot there. But the way that he's positioned, looking down on her, shows her lack of importance, shows her, again, vulnerability, shows her being alone, and also highlights their differences. He sat down with a cocktail in his hand, and she's there dressed in like a formal outfit given to her with her archery bow and arrow. Now moving on, we have here a close-up of Seneca Crane, and this was at the point where Katniss had just shot her arrow into the apple in the pig's mouth. And as you can see, this close-up here is really there to show his emotion. Now, you'd be correct in thinking that at this point his emotion is showing that he is shocked, okay? Because, again, as you've already noted, that he is in a position of power, and she's done something quite brave, quite brazen, and has surprised him a lot. So I'm sure you managed to spot those and others. Now, what I really want you to do is to really be thinking about the effect of those. Now, I've just given you some examples, but you might have wanted to choose, you might want to choose one of your own. And I've just chosen this different shot here. Okay, so it's again another high angle shot looking down on Katniss Everdeen, looking through these two people here who are again on the balcony. And she's on that centre stage trying to show, just about to prepare to show off her skill. So here is an example, a written model example of how you could write down and analyse a camera angle within a film. So I'm just going to read it out to you and we'll talk about it in a minute. In the Hunger Games clip, there are several high angle shots looking down on Katniss Everdeen. Within these shots, the camera is pointed down on Katniss as she prepares to show her archery skills to the people in the balcony. So you might notice here that right at the beginning, I've actually stated the camera angle used and then really just kind of detailed what's happening in the scene. And this is when we start to talk about the effect. The camera angle here shows Katniss to be vulnerable, alone and different. She is looked down upon from the people in the balcony. And the way these people are ignoring her and not even looking directly at her shows her lack of importance to them. The angle shows how the people in the balcony are in charge and have the power, and she's in a much weaker position in comparison to them. Okay, so just remember that when you're analysing a camera angle, first thing you need to do is state the effect. It then really helps if you detail what's happening in that shot, so what characters are in it and what they're doing, okay, and then really analysing what it shows about the protagonist, antagonist within that. So remember those two terms. Protagonist means like the good, the main character, and the antagonist is usually the baddie, the villains, okay. So the last thing that I want you to do is pick a camera angle from each of the clips. You can screenshot them if you want to, just like what I have done. And then next to them, I want you to explain what it shows you about the character, just like what I have done in that previous example with Katniss and that high angle shot there. Now, there are some sentence starters here to get you started if you're struggling slightly. The use of the high angles on Dory and Nemo show us that. Okay, the use of the low angle shows us that Bruce is. So you might need to go back and just revise what those two terms are. The use of the close-up angles on Seneca Crane, and then just fill out those sentences. However, they are just some example sentence starters. And you can obviously choose any of the shots that you have managed to pick out from those two clips that you have watched. Once you have done that, try to put an image of the shot to a Word document or something like that. Write up your analysis for each of the shots that you've done for the two clips, and then email them off to your English teacher where they'll be able to give you some nice feedback on those. Okay, well done guys, take care, and I hope, and obviously just email your teachers if you've got any more questions on this. Goodbye, thank you.